In the late 1990s, a storm was brewing, not just in the skies but in the underbelly of society. Deep within the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, a plan was forming, meticulously crafted by some of the brightest minds in law enforcement. Its target, the seemingly untouchable world of Mexican drug cartels, whose influence and power had grown exponentially. This was not just about stopping drugs, it was about dismantling an empire built on fear and corruption. It was about cutting off the lifeblood of these criminal empires' money, which flowed through a labyrinth of financial channels. Operation Casablanca, a top-secret investigation, was about to blow the lid off a massive money laundering operation, revealing the dark undercurrents of the drug trade. The world would soon learn how deep the cartel's influence reached, infiltrating legitimate businesses and corrupting officials. The operation, launched in 1998, had a clear goal: to strike at the heart of the cartel's financial infrastructure. The FBI wanted to dismantle the intricate web of banks, businesses, and individuals complicit in laundering billions of dollars in drug profits. They aimed to expose the complex network that allowed these criminal enterprises to thrive, often right under the noses of law enforcement. This was a new kind of fight for the FBI, one that required innovative tactics and unprecedented cooperation across various agencies. It required innovative tactics and unprecedented cooperation, bringing together experts from different fields to tackle the problem from all angles. The stakes were high, but the potential rewards were even greater, promising a significant blow to the cartel's operations. A successful operation could cripple the cartels and stem the flow of narcotics into the U.S., saving countless lives and restoring order. The FBI was venturing into uncharted territory, facing an enemy that was both powerful and elusive. The cartels, with their vast wealth and ruthless reputation, seemed invincible, but the FBI was determined to prove otherwise. But Operation Casablanca was about to prove that even the most powerful criminal organizations were vulnerable to strategic, well-coordinated law enforcement efforts. The investigation marked a turning point in the fight against international drug trafficking, setting new precedents for future operations. It signaled a new era of aggressive law enforcement strategies designed to disrupt and dismantle the financial networks that fueled the drug trade, making it harder for these organizations to operate. The success of Operation Casablanca would depend on secrecy, strategy, and unwavering determination, qualities that the FBI agents possessed in abundance. The FBI agents involved knew they were facing a formidable enemy, one that would stop at nothing to protect its interests. But they were also driven by a deep sense of justice and a commitment to protecting their nation from the scourge of drugs and organized crime, a mission that gave them the strength to persevere. The stage was set for a high-stakes confrontation that would have far-reaching consequences, not just for the cartels, but for the future of international law enforcement. The Mexican drug cartels, notorious for their brutality and vast drug operations, were masters of disguise when it came to their finances. They operated under a veil of legitimacy, making it difficult for authorities to trace their illicit activities. Their illicit activities generated billions of dollars annually, creating a financial empire that rivaled legitimate businesses. This cash, often covered in the blood of their victims, needed to be cleaned. The process of transforming this dirty money into clean, usable funds was both complex and essential for their operations. Their solution: an intricate web of money laundering schemes that spanned continents. These schemes were designed to obscure the origins of their wealth and integrate it into the legitimate financial system.
These cartels, far from being unsophisticated thugs, employed sophisticated methods to launder their dirty money. They were adept at exploiting financial systems and regulations to their advantage. They utilized a complex network of shell companies, often disguised as legitimate businesses. These shell companies served as fronts, allowing the cartels to funnel their illicit funds through seemingly legal channels. These ranged from restaurants and import-export companies to real estate ventures and financial institutions. Each type of business provided a unique cover for their operations. Each entity played a role in obscuring the origin of the money. By creating layers of transactions, they made it nearly impossible to trace the funds back to their criminal activities.
One of their most common tactics was smurfing. This method involved breaking down large sums of cash into smaller, less suspicious amounts. This involved dividing large sums of cash into smaller amounts and depositing them into multiple bank accounts. These deposits were strategically made to avoid detection. These deposits, often made by individuals known as Smurfs, were small enough to avoid triggering bank reporting requirements. The Smurfs played a crucial role in the initial stages of the laundering process. The money would then be transferred electronically, often through a series of international transactions, to further obscure its origins. This electronic trail was designed to confuse and mislead investigators.
Another frequently used method was trade-based money laundering. This sophisticated technique involved manipulating trade transactions to move money across borders. Cartels would manipulate the prices of goods traded between companies they controlled in different countries. By inflating or deflating prices, they could transfer value without raising suspicion. By over-invoicing or under-invoicing these goods, they could move large sums of money across borders without raising suspicion. This method exploited the complexities of international trade. The complexity of international trade made this an effective, albeit risky method for laundering their ill-gotten gains. The global nature of trade provided ample opportunities for concealment.
These cartels were not just criminals, they were shrewd business people. They operated with the precision and strategy of a multinational corporation. They understood the intricacies of international finance and exploited loopholes to their advantage. Their knowledge of financial systems was both their weapon and shield. Their money laundering operations were not merely a side hustle. They were an integral part of their business model, ensuring their survival and continued profitability. This integration of illicit and legitimate activities made them formidable adversaries for law enforcement.